You're watching The State of the Culture, brought to you by Izesan Speak Esan. My name is Justina, and I have amazing people beside me. But first of all, you should know that our platform supports African content, African as a continent, and Nigeria as a country as well. We're all about promoting our culture and not letting it die. So let me just stop letting these people just stare at each other. Let me start from my right. This is my co-host, one of my co-hosts. She's the life of the party, the person you definitely want to go to if you want to have a great time. The mood lifter.
Keep going.
And she likes being praised as well.
Period. My name is S01E06.
Okay, so my second co-host, very important, motivational speaker extraordinaire. If you want to jump, from a very high point, you don't want to dive into the water, this is the person you need in your earshot. If you're trying to make that power move, let this girl talk to you. You can't do anything. Please introduce yourself.
Thank you very much. My name is Kelechi Duru.
Okay, thank you, Kelechi. And to speak on our topic for the day, on this episode, we're talking about human rights violation. Yes, it is a serious topic, but it promises to be enlightening. And we brought someone who has knowledge and will be able to talk on it as much as you want. So we have a lawyer here, and I'd like him to introduce himself.
My name is Stanley Emejulo Esquire.
Great. So what would you like us to call you?
You can call me Stanley Esquire.
Respect.
Make sure the Esquire is there.
It's not easy.
Exactly. So before we talk about that, you should know, like I said, we promote African content, and we have an app. It teaches you various African languages. We have Tree, we have Zulu, we have Swahili, Igbo, Yoruba, Hausa, Esan. So just go to the app on your app store. It's on Google Play Store and your iOS store. You can get it right there. Talking about the app, which teaches languages. Stanley Esquire, what language can you speak?
My mother tongue, Igbo.
Oh, wow.
So do you speak any other language?
No, just Igbo.
Okay, so if you were to learn any language, which one would you?
Well, I would love to learn Hausa.
Why?
Because I've spent most of my life. Okay, not most of my life. I've spent my
Adult life?
Majority?
yes, yeah, thank you. Majority of my life in the north. My law school was in Adamawa State.
Oh, okay.
Yes, and my service was in Niger State. So I would like to learn Hausa so that I'll be able to, come closer to my client, because clients love to deal with people they know, like, and trust. So if I learn Hausa, I think I'll be able to communicate better, especially with those that don't understand English, right? So if they know that I speak Igbo and I also speak Hausa and understand them, they'll be like, I think we should trust this lawyer, right?
Yeah, true. Language.
That's a strategy.
Definitely.
Language is like a bridge,
Yeah,
Connect
exactly.
people together.
Connect.
So I'm trying to learn it. So, and I wouldn't mind going this way to learn it with the app.
Yeah.
I think it's cool.
So, I totally support what you're saying. I don't know if you ever had to deal with, some vendors or some taxi drivers or care in, any northern place. You should know. If you don't know now, you would get some kind of professional treatment. Special treatment when you can speak their language. Try it. It's actually really great.
Yeah.
Okay, so let us move into the topic now without any delay. We're talking about human rights violation. Now, you should know that as a human, you are entitled to a whole bunch of rights. If you don't know, now you know. You're welcome. And these rights are your entitlement and bestowed upon you, like I said, just for being a breathing human. The right to life, the right to religion, freedom of expression, and so many other things. In fact, Stanley Esquire, you can even help us, what are the basic fundamental human rights that every person should know?
Well, we have, first of all, I think is the most important, because that's why it's the first, the right to life. It's under Section 33 of the Constitution, 1999 as amended. The second one is for me, under Section 34, right to dignity as a person. Because as a person, you have to be accorded that respect as a human being, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and the Constitution ensures that that right being rights that you have as a human being, that no one should take away that right from you. You have the right not to be tortured, not to be exposed to any kind of degrading treatment or inhuman treatment and all that. So maybe I'll do it in summary form. Then section 35 talks about your right to the your ability as a human being, because being a human being, if you have your right to life, that is one, very important, and then you have a right to dignity as a person, then you should also have that right to, as a human being, have the ability to, as a human being, have liberty, right? So let's say, and that liberty doesn't stop there. Now, the Constitution makes it clear that even though you have liberty, it moves up. It says, as a human being, you are entitled to right to liberty. Number two, right to be informed. If there is an arrest by the police or anything, now you have to be informed about the reason why you're being arrested, right? Now, and so many other things in that section 35. Now, if you stray further, you see, okay, now, if you are arrested by the police, you have the right to remain silent. Then, and until you have consulted with a lawyer. Now, moving forward, you also have the right to, if you have been arrested, for example, because this discussion is all about whether or not, as a human being, you have a right as encapsulated in the Constitution. Now, and if you take it one by one, you have already said that you have a right to liberty, right to be informed in the language you understand about an offense, and then you go on right to, even if you have been arrested, right to be taken to court at a particular time. Now,
let me take it.
I'm coming. Okay. Now, if you have been arrested, one, and then you are kept in the place you have been arrested and not taken to court, that is a breach of your fundamental rights. Now, so, and the Constitution makes it clear that, well, if you have been arrested, you have to be taken to court within a specific period of time.
Can you specify the period of time?
Yes.
Now, 24 hours from the time that you are arrested. Like if the court closed the place is like 40 kilometers close, and then if it is not 40 kilometers close, or if it's more than that, it can be 2 days or more.
That's a maximum.
Yes. No, it depends on the closeness of the court.
So can it be like 1 week?
I don't think. Now, if you check the setting of Nigeria, there's nowhere in Nigeria that I don't find a court that is close to that. Yeah. So it makes it clear that if you have been arrested, so your arrestor cannot just arrest you and keep you here and then not take it in any further action. So once you have been arrested, the next call of action is to take you to a court. Right. So now, if all these things have or are not done, now you have a right to ventilate your grievances, and if you do that, you are entitled to compensation. That is under the same section 35 of the Constitution. So you're entitled to compensation.
Even monetary compensation.
Yes.
Very important.
Very.
Now we go further to section 36, which gives you the right to, fair hearing within a reasonable time. So if you have a case in court, it says in every matter, in every civil matter, where that you have an interest in the case. Now, if let's say in a civil matter, you are entitled to fair hearing within a reasonable time. Now, a reasonable time is, let's say, can be determined based on the circumstance of your case.
Okay, so according to the crime?
No. And the fair hearing must be in public. Now, it says if you have a civil claim, you are entitled to fair hearing within a reasonable time. That is, yes, I'm coming. That is the summary of 36 Section 36, 1 of the
Okay.
Constitution.
Standing
We talked
Esquire.
about, we talked about your
It's just
civil.
going hot, you know?
This is a lot.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
a lot.
I can see the fire.
Lots to take in.
I can see the
So
fire.
let me just let us in because you mentioned something about the right to being informed, and I feel like you have a lot of knowledge on this
Yes.
because you're a lawyer.
And the
So
Yeah.
when it comes to like being educated on, on these things, just talking as a person that is not a lawyer,
Yeah.
how to know your rights. Like, do you think we actually have ways that you can actually know your rights without, following the profession?
Actually, we actually have ways whereby Nigerians can know their rights. The first one, like he said, is just there in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999 as amended. It's there. Like every Nigerian can actually like have a copy of this Constitution
You
because
serious?
yeah, like it's everywhere. You can just find it in every bookstore.
You can even download it.
Download.
Yeah, aside that, for those that don't want to use the book, the manual thing, no hard copy, you can download it online and then it's even in an app. I have an app for it.
Oh, so what's going on?
The Nigerian Constitution. Of just 1999 Constitution. It's that
It
simple.
was basically
So, yeah, you can get it. Like it's very easy for you to
Sorry,
just
you have
get
the
it.
Yeah, I do.
You have the app?
no, I don't.
I mean, I just.
the same shit.
Right now, I can get
So
it.
I do.
Sure, I moved on the stage.
So that's one. Okay, for just leave that one. I have something for you too.
Yeah.
So aside the app, we have true education in the sense that, like now, I mean, the federal government of Nigeria have tried to, impute these things into our educational system, whereby it's in a subject now called civic education. Every student must actually study civic education, be it science students. I'm talking of secondary school level right now.
Yeah.
Science students, art students, commercial students, you must study civic education. You must write it in your WAEC. It's actually like a compulsory subject now for maths, English, civic education, and then your special field. So that's like the two main ways that Nigerians can actually get educated on their rights.
Yeah, I'm hurt too because when I was in school, they didn't teach me civic.
Oh
I
my
haven't had a question. I haven't had a
I missed
question.
it. I completely missed
Yeah.
that subject.
I mean, I did.
Yeah, I have a
They
question.
made it compulsory in 2014. That was when I was
Okay.
street. So it was compulsory.
So I
as
feel some
such.
type of
So imagine 2014 to 2022. That's something. They're trying to inform us. Everybody must know.
Yeah,
Because
And that
it's
is
very,
actually
it's
right.
very important because
Yeah.
I think it's if not the most important thing that every Nigerian, if you're not a lawyer, you need to know about it because it's something that is not even rocket science. If you just get the Constitution, just go through it. Chapter 4 of the Constitution provides for
Yeah.
the fundamental rights.
Yes.
You just if you don't want to read the whole Constitution because you're not a lawyer, you can just read chapter 4
Chapter 4.
and just
Maybe good.
understand it.
Yeah.
And you are good.
I have a
If-
question.
Yes.
Does this civic education, like, do you think it's, like, does it set a good basis for actually knowing your human rights?
Yeah.
Good question. Like, do they really cover it?
Yes.
Yes, they do. From section 33 to section 46. That's where the fundamental rights begins and end. Now, they take it one by one. Though I didn't have the opportunity to study that when I was
Was?
in, yes.
Exactly. So you're not
You know,
taking-
so yeah,
Okay.
so
Yeah.
but I believe
Injustice.
that from the nature of the subject, it should be able to cater to the interest of the people who study it. So it shouldn't be a half-baked attempt to teach people their rights. So I believe it should be encompassing. Yes.
I mean, a fun fact, it was like the most easy subject. Everybody passes it.
I loved it in school. Like,
It
I loved
was
it in
too
school.
simple, like
Very,
even
very
the
easy.
dumbest of the dumbest loves
And
civic
it's just
education.
now it's
But
chilled.
how come that after learning it,
Yeah.
and well, you think it's easy, then, but most Nigerians don't appreciate it. When it comes to real life challenge of your rights,
Yes.
well, you'll be confused.
I feel like that's
Now,
because of the
and
society
that
we
brings me
are.
why I asked that question, because while in school, studying civic education,
Yes.
it didn't really bring it to a real life instance.
Yeah.
For example, now when let me say I'm driving and then a police holds me, for
Yes.
example.
Yeah.
Now that civic education, that didn't teach me,
What you're going to do.
exactly
Yeah.
what I should do
Yeah.
or the rights I have. Like what you're saying now is just so different.
Probably because the person that taught you
Mm-hmm.
wasn't a lawyer.
And
Wasn't it? That's
in
it.
their
Must
defense,
be a
in their
lawyer,
defense,
exactly.
it was just introduced then. So you can't compare 2014 till now. They just keep expanding. So I feel like those in
So
high
should we
school
give
right
the benefit of
now,
doubt?
yeah, I feel like those in high school right now have like a higher
Are you
chances
sure
of, you know,
about that, girl?
I feel like.
You know what? You talked about something. I heard you talking about, you know, if you're stopped by the police.
Yeah.
You know, that happens like a lot. You know.
Of course, every day.
Yeah. Oh wow, every day.
Yeah.
Every day, yes.
Not just the police.
Angry.
I've
you
never
know,
experienced this.
I'm angry right now.
The road safety.
Thank you.
They're just on the road.
Why are you angry?
Exactly.
Because of the road safety.
Wow,
So what-
tell us experience.
Okay,
please.
I mean, this was just 2
You
weeks
had
ago.
an account.
I've had like a lot, but let me just use the one that
You give us
just
the
that is still fresh in my memory.
Okay.
So my friend's sister, like she's my friend also, she was having a wedding here in Kubwa. And her dad was like, "Oh, Tosin, I'm so sorry, I forgot the mints. I changed yesterday at the bank. Please just help me go get it at the house." And he gave me the house key and the car key. So me and my friend went to the house to get the stuff.
So
So
like,
like
explain what means was spoke to my because I don't know what it means. You know.
mints, fresh money, new money,
Good.
like it's not dirty.
Yes. No, that's what I was doing.
So yeah, we got home, took the mint, and then on our way back, this man stopped us. And then he's like, "Pack, pack, pack, pack," and we're like, "Okay, what did you do?"
Was he angry?
It was, they're always feisty. Always feisty. Okay, pack, 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 I better go carry, brush your car. And then you see them packing their vehicle in front, and then my friend was like, "Oh, see, me, I go zoom off from like just relax a bit. This is the
okay.
ones, that kind of thing."
Yeah.
And then the man just said, "Madam, you know your seatbelt." "Oh, God, I'm so sorry. My stomach was this." "Yeah, okay, just give me your driver's license first." We gave him the driver's license and he seized it. And then he's like,
Wow.
"Where's your car papers?" And then he was like, "Oh, I can't give him the car papers." "Why? In original day." "Okay." Because he knows that the minute you give him the original, it's gone. He won't give you back. Then he started like hitting the car and shouting. He was like, "Fat, pull over properly. You will go to the station today. Against like paper for you." I'm like, "Okay, just calm down, calm down, calm down." The point is, at the end of the day,
Exactly. What happened? At the
1-5
Left your pocket.
left my
And
purse.
solve the issue.
Interesting.
Now I have a question for you, sir, based on what she said.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. So now, what happened? Him taking their papers.
Mm.
Do they like? Is that infringing on their rights? Because seizing their papers.
He didn't take it, seized it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, can they? Like, do they have the right to seize your paper? Even their
And your
aggression.
driver's license.
Yes, their aggression also. Like, does that also like infringe our rights?
You know, justice the three-way traffic for the person involved, the victim, the state. You know, talk about the person who the case is against, right? So now, what offense did the person commit? That's the first question you ask. Now, is there an offense? Because the law enforcement, they have the right to, like in this case, the FRS, that's the road safety, they have the right to, if you commit a traffic offense, they have the right to even impound your vehicle.
So it doesn't matter how subtle it is.
They have the right, depending on the offense you committed,
Okay.
they have the right to either impound your vehicle particulars. So now, but if she's saying that she didn't commit any offense, right?
Didn't say that.
I said I
Seatbelt.
knew that I made a mistake by
Okay.
not putting on my seatbelt
Okay.
and I left the gate.
Okay, so your seatbelt was not on.
Yes.
I was still in front of my gates
Okay.
in my defense.
In front of
Was
what
the
gate?
car moving?
What
How
The
gate?
car just like left the gate. We've not even closed the gate.
It's moving.
The car was moving. That I knew. But then I'm just saying what she's asking is the way it was so feisty and then it was hitting the car.
And then
Why?
seizing their.
Season and it says the original driver's
Exactly.
license and was still like on and on was okay. He said he was still going to seize the car papers.
Okay.
I'm still threatening to take us to the.
So our point here is like, is it legal? Like,
Is that allowed?
That's the point. Now, if you have a traffic violation, which she said she knows she committed an offense, right?
yeah.
Now, they have the right to even impound the vehicle. So if they can impound the vehicle, can they now even seize or confiscate your vehicle particulars? So if they can impound the vehicle, they can even do anything that is less than that. So now, so you have to consider, if you're talking about fundamental rights, don't just say, well, I'm a citizen of Nigeria, then I can do anything I want, and then I'll go to court and file a case. No. You have to also bear in mind that you have a duty to obey the law.
True. Our point here.
Now, if you have committed an offense, but to the question directly, Now, to the question directly, now, if she is in her house, you said you are in your house, right?
Outside the gates.
Outside the gate,
Yes.
and you are arrested. Were you arrested?
We're not arrested.
What? Okay, they told you to just give up your driver's license and
He
stuff.
was insisting on impounding the car and taking us.
To the office.
Oh.
Yeah.
And
Sorry.
I'm coming now. And you know, the problem with Nigerians is that once police or law enforcement generally mentions the fact that well, you're going to the station, you become afraid, and then you start
You're not meant to be afraid.
you start threatening. Now,
Because of what they do.
Yes,
No.
you're not meant to be afraid.
listen, if an officer reasonably believes that you have committed an offense, he has the right to arrest you. Right? Now, he said, okay, let's go to the station. He doesn't even want to arrest you yet. He just wants to, he's inviting you to the station.
Invited.
Listen.
Wow, like a dinner.
He's inviting you to the station.
Yeah.
He even wants to respect you. So he's,
Yes.
now, for me, what I usually do is, if I know that I didn't commit an offense, I'll tell him, I'll ask him, what offense did I commit? Because like I just said early on, that section 35 says that the officer must tell you the offense you've committed, right? So you tell him, sorry. Like me, I'm a lawyer, but I will tell the arresting officer, sorry, officer, can you educate me, what offense did I commit? Then, if I didn't commit an offense, most of them will start ranting, will start saying, you think you're a lawyer, you blah, 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 blah.
They can forge one for you.
Now, I'll repeat
They
my
always
question.
do that.
I'll repeat my question. He's saying like, I'll keep repeating. Most of the time, if you ask that question several times and they know that you're a lawyer, they'll say, well, barrister, if you can just give us 1,000, we'll let you go. Now, because they know that if they go to the station and if they do anything unlawful, they're going to sue them. So they'll start asking you for settlements. So
Exactly.
give
So,
us,
sorry, get
give us
to
1,000.
that 1,000 naira now. Concerning the 1,000 you mentioned earlier, I want to just pinpoint something still based on that same day. So after the back and forth on the driver's license and all, and then when I gave him the 1,500 for my purse, he made a statement. So, madam, you know what to do since you can't follow me argue. So if initially you wanted the money or you wanted the giveaway, just tell me, how far, madam, today Saturday, we'll do weekend for the boys. We would have just shown you love and then move, but he had to drag until I gave him the money, and then he was like, okay, now you can go. So now you said something about him having the right to impound vehicle, and you as a barrister, if you should get stopped when you ask them questions, they're like, okay, just give us 1,000 naira. So are we?
Can you sue them for that?
No, not even. My question here is, if as a proper Nigerian, okay, fine, I know that I've committed a crime, like, why can't I just like come straight and be like, oh, just give me money for the weekend? You didn't
Why do you have to cut to
anything.
the corner?
Why do you have to like cut to the corner?
Talk to me direct.
It is because they know that giving money,
Mhm.
like in that scenario, is receiving bribes, right? So it is not even legal
Exactly.
now. So they are saying that because they know that you do not want to follow, like you, the person that is insisting on your rights, right? That you don't want to follow due process. So they now want you to pay them money so that they will let you go.
Wow.
So now the question I was asking you is, are you ready to follow due process?
I mean, I usually follow due process.
Was no.
Except that
Sorry,
day.
the question would be, what is due process?
Yes.
Due process is if you know that you have, violated a law, you've committed a crime, and they say, young lady, we are going to book you for running the red light. You say, okay, I'm sorry, let's go to the station.
Oh, you tell them.
Say,
Yes.
go there, you pay the
Because
fine.
they'll invite you, okay, let's go. You say, all right, let's go. But most Nigerians will say, officer, I will give you 1,000.
And sir, do you know why that happens?
So,
because you know that
The
if you go
route,
to the
the
station,
route keeps coming up all the time.
So it's not just the officers, it's
The
the
officers
citizens.
are demanding
Oh,
bribes.
sorry, can I say something?
Citizens are willing to give the bribe.
Exactly. Now, do you know why we are winning?
Yeah.
It's because it actually comes in our record when you go to the, like when you have a thing like police, it comes to in your record. Like they would ask
Sorry?
you. Like when you have it, like because most time when I'm with like some paperwork will be like, have you had an encounter with any police people before?
I see.
So if I say yes, that's what limit some things for me. Because people love people that have clear record. That's what exactly.
Oh,
So
I
I
see.
feel that people avoid such because they don't have anything to do with police, so that my record will be clean.
Well, unfortunately, I cannot recall any situation where Nigerian police have a record of crime committed by Nigerians. I don't think so.
Damn.
Wow.
I don't think
Wow.
so.
So that's
Wow.
another thing.
I may be
Wow.
wrong, but I don't think so. Well, it happens in other countries, but I don't think it happens in Nigeria.
Wow.
So when they file a case against you, isn't that a record?
Yeah.
In the what?
Find a case against
Okay, that's
In the
Can
file
you find a case against you first of all?
for, of course,
an offense.
because the law provides that if you commit a traffic, let's say in this scenario, a traffic offense, you can pay the fine,
Okay.
and then once you pay the fine, that will be over, right? So, but if you refuse to pay the fine, they can take you to model courts
Mm.
and summarily try you, and if you are found guilty, you'll be sentenced.
So now does that go in the record?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the record that makes.
No, I'm coming, but not the record of the police per se. It is the record in the archives of the judiciary.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
if someone tomorrow, if you're running for office and and you have a criminal record, a conviction, someone will just go to court and apply for a copy of your the judgment against you. So that is the record we're talking about, not
A police.
record with the police or
But
something.
everything can escalate with them, so you can't be sure because because sometimes you're right, you know you're right, but they're trying to put things on you. And now you're not insist on not paying a fine because why it's you, you're not wrong.
Then-
Now that will go to the big place, to the mobile thing like you said, the bank court.
Yes.
That will now go into record.
No, if
That's if you're
if you know that you are right,
Mm-hmm.
and then they take you to court. In fact, in the first place, if you are right, they are not going to take you to court.
Okay.
Never going to
In this
take you to
country,
court.
sir.
They are not going to take you to court. I assure you. Now,
It
unless
fits in the police that.
unless there is a thin line between whether you are right or wrong, so they are confused as to whether you're right or wrong, so they want to take you to court and try.
So can you speak can you I feel that your lawyer actually makes you talk differently. Can you talk like a regular citizen that actually faces this issue?
Well,
Because majority will not agree with you.
yeah,
on this thing.
well,
Yeah,
of course,
being a lawyer.
wait. Of course, you will not agree with me
You're trying to play safe, sir.
because what I'm telling you is something that is,
The bit toucher.
yes.
I think
So-
I
so
I
this-
get what it's
so
trying
now-
to say.
so
I think
now,
I get what it's trying to
If
say.
you know, let me make it clear. If you know that, okay, you are driving on the highway, and then the police stops you and say you run the red light. I say no, I did not run the red light. Now they say you did. Let's go to court. Then you proceed to court because being a criminal case, they're the ones to prove that you did run the red light. So they will bring evidence to show that you run it. I don't. Once again, I don't know whether we do it in Nigeria.
Exactly.
I'm coming.
We don't have
Exactly
that.
what?
You don't know what they do. Do they even have? Do you know?
Let me land. I haven't said anything.
Sorry.
My point is, I don't know whether Nigerian like our
Cameras.
yes.
I know where you're going.
Now we
to,
have it.
Yes.
But I know in
We don't
other
have-
countries, if once you run the red light, they send you
No,
a
they can
ticket.
replay.
They'll send you a ticket to your email. So, but in Nigeria, if they don't have the proof, but I think they do. Sometimes because
Have you encountered?
yeah, someone told me that at some places,
Someone.
yes, that they can get you on camera. So if they take you to court, they are the ones to prove that you ran the red lights.
Okay.
So if they cannot prove it, then you are not the one to establish your innocence.
Okay.
If they cannot prove it, you go.
Okay, so
So
I
you see-
I
so-
actually understand what you're
yeah.
saying and what Kelechi is saying. Kelechi is actually speaking from the normal Nigerian who
Mhm.
is scared of even going anything.
Let me even
to
give you an
this-
example.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Going anywhere because they know the implications.
What's the
sometimes.
implication? What's the implication?
Sometimes you're a lawyer and you're aware of these
Yeah.
things, but there are people that are not aware of these things.
Good.
NOI
so much right.
NOI, there's this poll
Mhm.
that was conducted by
Mhm.
NOI, and it says that 76% of people choose not to report their human rights violation at all. They just
In Nigeria
do not.
especially.
They don't
Why
report
do you,
it.
why is that?
Exactly.
Sir, is that your question?
One of the problems
Of
is
course,
the
yeah.
trust in the police
Okay.
is actually low. They feel threatened by the police.
Wait,
And-
sorry.
Mr. Sly.
Before you proceed,
Okay.
wait. So someone whose rights was violated by, say, the police,
Yes.
he's supposed to trust the police to protect
Relax.
his rights.
The police is the person because it's my word against yours. If you accuse me of doing something, yes, you need to present proof. But usually, imagine if it's a stop point, it's a what they call it, checkpoint.
Yes.
There's more than one policeman there. What if one person chooses to back the other, and it's two people's word
Against
mine?
yours.
But hold on. Yes. So yes, I can understand what she's saying about the person trying to ignore it, and trust me, this poll is there. Anybody can.
But I
check
mean,
it.
that's actually why.
So another thing again is the justice
That's
system.
one of the reasons.
Yeah.
No,
Wait,
I was going to say that's actually why we are just educating people about their fundamental human rights. So we
Yes.
can know these things and understand from his perspective.
Yeah.
Because we don't understand enough.
True, and what he's saying too, Kelechi, is that there's the right thing to do. If you know
Yeah.
you're free, you're clear. This is something you're
I
supposed
get
to
what you're
stand your
saying,
ground
but I
and
just
do as
like
well.
why I was asking this question is because I'm trying to ask like a normal person watching you.
Sorry, was that not a question you asked?
What question was that?
Like you asked a question, you talked about the fact that a poll was conducted, and then it came out positive that Nigerians don't like to enforce their rights, and then you now give instances of where you say, well, if you go to court, the police will back.
Each
Was
other.
that I think that's the question, right?
In a way, not really. I'm just giving you an instance of
Oh,
why
I see.
some people might be scared. So another thing again is the trust in the justice system. I was going to say, okay, now if I know
you don't
my
want me to
rights,
clear you on that.
Yeah,
fine.
please, please
Go ahead.
I need to be
That's
educated.
why we need you.
I have so many
Go ahead.
questions.
So now, if you see, the court is not a village square where you win a case by having thousands of witnesses,
Yeah.
people backing you up and blah blah blah.
Okay.
You see, one witness
Yeah.
can defeat the testimonies of 100 witnesses. If your
Yes.
witness or if your testimony can stand the test of cross-examination. So, if you go to court, those policemen will come along, there are 100 of them. In fact, the more witnesses you have in your case, the more likely you are to contradict your case. So, you have 5 witnesses, one is saying A, the other person is saying B, C, D.
What if they all plan to
So,
say it?
if, of course, no, because if you go to court, or everything you're planning to say in court,
Can you stand the test of time?
it will all vanish from your mind once you enter that court, once you
Yeah.
enter that door to testify.
True.
And worst of it is that if a lawyer now asks you a question under cross-examination, you are going to be confused. So, in that confusion, you are going to give conflicting testimonies.
Wow.
And if there are 5 witnesses, you're going to damage your case. So why would you want to have 5 witnesses?
But sir, this
So
thing you're saying.
and when it happens, you find that the police will lose that case, and then you win because you have one credible witness.
So I have a question. This thing you're saying, how when you enter court,
Yes.
just everything you've planned.
Of course, it will.
Is it tested and proven? Like, are you sure?
You can
Because
try
there are
it.
cases
You can
where
try it
there are
yourself.
cases where these criminals actually connive.
I think that's why he
And
said.
you have to go
Can
deeper
you
into
guess?
investigation.
Can it just stand the test of time? Because you can plan today, tomorrow, next tomorrow. But then if you are lying, it gets to a point you get frustrated. Because you're lying and you might forget what this person has said.
I'm telling you from experience,
Okay.
you can try it yourself. If you are, in fact, let me shock you. Even if you're telling the truth, if you come to court, you will be nervous. You're telling the truth. Now, let alone when you're telling a lie, you will, at a point, you want the ground to open and swallow you up. So you don't even think about it. And then when you are now being cross-examined, you will, after that case, you are going to, in fact, you're
What do
going
you mean by
to,
cross-examine?
like, the other lawyer will ask you a question to determine whether you are lying, you are trying to subvert justice. Now, after that case, and after that, trauma of going through
Why do you
trial,
call it trauma?
right?
Okay.
You are going to feel like, stabbing your lawyer for advising you to come and testify in court.
I see.
So that's how it goes. If you want, you can go and try it.
So, sir, with
But
this
no,
said,
no,
I'm
no.
done. It leads me to another question.
Yeah.
So, in Nigeria, yeah, do we have agencies that actually protect these fundamental human rights?
Of citizens, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Like
go
checks
to-
and balances.
Sure. Sure. Well, I know of the National Human Rights Commission.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can go
Is it
there.
active?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
It's and you can
Do
go
they have a
there.
helpline?
Yes,
Do they have a
I
helpline?
of course but I can't tell you off from my head.
I guess on their website. we
Yeah,
can
sure.
go
You can
to-
just
I
type
probably will try them to see. if
National Human Rights.
I'm sure they are working
Commission.
diligently. I have faith.
Yes. You can just
I love that. I love that.
you can try and see what happens. But I think they are really working hard to ensure that Nigerians are really protected from
Yeah.
from
So I have a question.
that violation.
So going forward, what do you think can be put in place to ensure human rights are being protected as going forward? Because I feel that there is room for growth. There's always room for growth. So what can be done going forward that you feel as a lawyer and as a citizen also that can be done to protect human rights going forward?
Well, from experience, I think that for the most part, the violation of human rights usually comes from the law enforcement.
Mhm.
So
Sure.
if there's a way we can, or the government can, uh, train law enforcement or to reorientate them to understand the what it means to uphold the rule of law and uphold the rights of citizens. I think it will go along with, but let's not forget that there is no way humanly possible for any country, whether Nigeria or the US or Britain, to completely stop human rights violations.
True.
Yeah.
So what we can do is to to curb it a little, and it's little by little, and hopefully a time will come when it will go down. Let's say currently we have 60% violation.
That's
On a
like
very high side.
Sorry, hypothetically.
Which is on a very high
Yes.
side.
And then as time goes
No,
on, it
60.
goes down to
Wait, are you speaking like hypothetically?
yes,
Okay.
because
No, we
there is
understand.
no statistic.
Exactly. That's
So, well,
So,
it could work.
I wanted to ask.
Yes.
We've talked about every human being having rights, but are there situations or certain cases where a person can be stripped or restricted, to certain rights?
Of course, generally speaking, all these rights, because we have not even gone through all the rights. We just stopped at I think section 36. We still have
Can't
37.
cover all.
We still have from 37 to 46.
Do you cram everything?
It's a lawyer, you should know.
Not cramming. You should know it.
So you know everything.
You should also know it.
I hear a thing about
So,
as a
you don't
lawyer,
need
you
to-
don't have
you don't
to
need to
frown.
be a-
I should know it.
You need to know where to go to when
That's
you
why I have
do
the
it.
app though.
You don't need to be a lawyer.
I have the
to
app
know
for
it.
that. I would get the app.
So now,
Hmm.
all the rights have exceptions.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right to life
To every reception.
has an exception. So you see, you say, I have the right to life. No one can take a life. Well, unfortunately, if you have been found guilty by a court of competent jurisdiction, let's say you committed.
Can you not speak about it? Can you come over to what competence jurisdiction?
Okay, if you have been found guilty by a court
Exactly.
and then you are sentenced to death,
Okay.
why can you say you're entitled to right to life?
Yeah, so that means.
Well, when can that happen? When can they sentence you to death? On what occasion?
Of course, if you commit murder,
Is that the only?
capital offense, death.
So that's the only one that you can
Yes.
sentence to death. When you
Yes.
take a life.
Yeah.
Okay. So what about inmates? Someone that didn't commit murder. Inmates now, do they? Because we're going to have it's going to be on one of our episodes. Snippet for whoever is watching. We're going to talk about the Nigerian Correctional Service. So as
Yes.
inmates, do you have rights as well?
Well, depends on what right you're talking about. Of course, you have the right to life. No one can kill you because you're in prison.
Okay.
Yeah.
With
Yeah.
no movement.
Of course, you don't have the right to liberty, to move around and leave your cell. You don't have the right, that right. You don't have the right to say, well, I have the right to dignity of my person. I should be taking salad and chicken. You don't have that right, unfortunately.
Your rights are
Because
restricted.
yes, because the prisons have a standard, and everybody in that prison will take that standard. So we don't have the right to say you're upping your game and you demand that they give you.
Shawarma every
Yes.
day.
So
Burger and a night.
So that's fine. Sorry.
so in summary, no right is absolute.
Oh wow.
You even if now the right to life, like I talked about, it is not absolute because you have to give room to the states to be able to exercise that power pursuant to a court judgment. Now, let's even forget about the states now. If you have a right to freedom of speech, freedom of the press for pressmen, but that right is also curtailed because you don't have the right to say, okay, I have the right to speak, then you now go ahead and commit slander. You can't do that. So that right has also been curtailed by the rights of your fellow Nigerian because you don't have the right to slander them. So it curtails it. And it goes on. So no
there's
right,
absolute
no right is absolute.
Okay.
And even the peak of it all is that section 45 now gives a specific makes a provision that these rights mentioned in some circumstances, whether for public peace, defense, public morality, once it is justifiable in a public society, like in Nigeria we have, then most of these rights can be curtailed,
Okay.
Okay.
right? So it is not an absolute right, and even in state of emergency, where the state has to curtail, let's say, for example, the movement of people, once it is reasonably justifiable for the state to come up with either a legislation to say these rights should be curtailed, once it's an act of the National Assembly, a law, then, and it is justifiable. If it is not justifiable, you can even go to court to challenge it, saying this law is not justifiable and the states cannot trample upon my right because of this law.
Okay.
Stanley Esquire, you've mentioned the courts a lot of times.
Yes.
And honestly, sometimes in court, and when it comes to delivering justice, we have some cases of delayed justice. And I know as a lawyer, you go to court often, but how can, an ordinary person be confident in the court? Like, what are the chances of a person getting, fair, beyond what is on paper?
Yes.
Is it when it comes to practice? Am I going to get fair judgment? Like, am I going to get a fair judgment? And how do I ensure that I get a fair judgment?
Wait, well, is your question about fair judgment, or judgment within time? Which one are you talking about?
Fair judgment.
Or just fair judgment?
Yes, because if I'm saying okay, I'll go to court.
Yeah.
How am I certain that I'm actually going to get the justice that I seek, and it won't be delayed, and then my pocket won't run dry from
So I think talking about both of them.
going
Well,
places?
you cannot find out until you go to court.
So that's the only confidence you're giving me in going to court.
No, see, you cannot stay in your couch
Yeah.
and determine whether you are going to have fair trial.
Okay.
You have to go out there and file an action and then know whether you're going to have a fair trial.
So nothing.
So there's no way you
done
can
to
try to
ascertain.
Now, when you now go to court and you don't have a fair trial, of course, I won't stand here and tell you that everybody that has gone to court has had a fair trial. Well,
Thank you.
if you go to court and you find that that you didn't get a fair trial, you have the right to appeal that decision. So if you go to court and you think, well, the police is or should be compelled to pay me damages for violating my rights, and the court says, sorry, we cannot give you that. Well, you say, well, you can also go up to the Court of Appeal. If it fails, you go to the Supreme Court. Now, if it fails, it means that you don't have a case.
Yeah.
So it gets thrown out at the Supreme Court. That's my.
Yes.
my
Supreme is the
last
final
point.
level.
Yeah, finally.
I'm sorry, can I
But it doesn't actually get there all the time because that's like,
No, if
Hierarchy.
if you want, you can take it there.
wow.
Yeah, sorry, let me say something. Let me ask something. So this is actually what like interests me about everything you said is the compensation that we get to be compensated
Yeah.
if like when it gets to that point. But now I'm sure you're like shocked that people should know that they get compensated, but why don't they go for the compensation, right? Sometimes. But let me tell you why some people don't even want to even go to all this court thing. Sometimes the money you spend going to court is enough already. Like compared to compensation, it's not even reach up to it. Let me give you a very real example. There was a man that he had a land, but then somehow it was illegally so like he was building actually, and then someone else came and said claim the land. Now the person like pulled down the whole building that he started building, and now he went to court with that man.
Yes.
Now the payment we paid for the lawyer already, it was so much money. And guess what? The court didn't even rule for the man to pay him back for the building that was like he already crashed down. All the man said was it's not his fault that he has given back the land. So sometimes this thing, and then the man already spent so much money going to court, and it wasn't paid back to him.
But you got the land.
Yes, but then the building, how much do you spend to buy cement and blocks?
That was a lot.
That's money.
That was a lot.
Well,
How
now,
Jesus Christ.
now, when we put that in perspective,
Mhm.
we're talking about fundamental right.
Mhm.
Now, see. Now, let me give you this analogy. If you go to a doctor, you have cancer, right? And you are seeking chemotherapy.
Okay.
And you say, well, doctor, how much is chemotherapy? He tells you 50 million. Will you pay?
Like if I do money, I will pay.
If you have the money.
Yes,
Is 50 million not too much for your life?
for my life. It's
What?
not nothing is so much for your life.
No.
Whoa.
No,
I
not
see.
is too much. For your
So, but 50 million is too much to protect your rights. Is that what you're saying?
I get what you're saying. You're putting me in a trap.
So you see,
Yeah.
so
I see what you did there.
I cannot pay a lawyer 50 million for what?
So,
Uh,
but
you
can I ask you a question?
Yeah,
At least the doctor I'm paying, I get to live longer, be. But the right I'm paying, what am I? What
You're enjoying the rights.
enjoying which right? I say that the house,
Oh.
they're not going to
Okay,
pay
wait.
back for the house.
Wait. No, now that house stuff is not even in the real sense fundamental rights. That is just, let's say, because in law everything is not about fundamental rights.
Okay.
That could be, let's say, trespass
Sure.
or title to land, so it's not fundamental right. Now we're talking about fundamental rights.
Okay, let me give you an example. Fundamental human right. Let me say me now.
No, let me help you.
Okay.
So now, the army or the police that will detain you, right? And they are torturing you. You are in cell. You're not eating. You're not doing anything. You're in a dark cell. Nothing. No life. And then someone comes up and says, "You have 15 million, or you have 1 naira, 1,000. Pay and get your freedom." You say, "Well, 15 million is too much. I rather die here in the cell."
Sorry, can I counter?
Yes.
Let me give you a different example.
Okay.
Because that one is quite extreme, which I get you. Now let me say
Yes.
let me say this traffic light violation.
Yes.
Let's say I did not cross, but he said I crossed. Now he comes and be shouting. He comes and he's shouting at me. That's the police. So now I can choose to agree and pay him the tip he's asking me for. Let me say he's saying 1.5. Let me see, he's saying 1.5.
Okay.
Or I can choose to say no, I don't want because I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
And I have to what, go to court and go to the police and take me to their police, right?
Mhm.
And then I cannot get a lawyer to prove my case if
Yeah, if they're taking you to court.
yes, exactly. To court.
Yes, yes.
Now let me say I will not call you as my lawyer. I say, sir, please come as my lawyer. I'll not ask you, sir, how much is your charge? I'll not be hearing thousands. So the question is, won't I just stick to just paying this man 1.5 and just go on my way?
No. You're getting it wrong. Now,
Okay.
the police said you broke.
The rule.
Okay.
And I did not break it.
Example, you run the red light, and then you said you did not, and they're saying you did. Let's go to the station so that you pay fine, right?
Yes.
Then you said, "I'm not going to the station. I'm not paying any fine."
Yes, because I did not do
Because
anything.
now, So you have two options. Your option is not paying 1.5. No, that is not your legal
No.
option.
Okay,
It's
I
not-
get
it's
it.
not a
No, I
legal-
can't tip him.
If you pay 1.5,
Yeah.
you haven't committed a crime.
No, my point is like now what happens to her?
So I'm coming. So your option is
Mhm.
to pay the fine or
Okay.
not. That is, you go to court. So now, if you don't want to pay the fine and they take it to court, now, in fact, what you are protecting is not just not paying the
So
fine.
look, so you understand what I'm saying?
Get the point.
Okay.
What you're protecting is not just not paying the fine because you have said you didn't commit this crime and we're going. Let's go to court if you want to take us to court. So
Yeah.
we are in court now. So you have a lawyer. So the lawyer wants to represent you. So the reason why the reason why you are engaging the lawyer is not just to save you from paying the fine. It is to save you. See, you are a human being
And right.
and you know your rights and you know the value of that right. You don't want someone tossing you around. So it is not just about the fine.
It's
about you.
I love that question. I love
It's
what
about
said.
you.
But in this country, Nigeria,
Yeah.
most people tell you, I don't want the right taking. Let me pay this man the money. Like, because, like, what, like, now let's use her instance, for example.
Mhm.
All he wanted at the last was how much?
1.5.
1.5.
Mhm.
So if they prolonged the matter and it got to the extent you're saying of the fine, the lawyer, everything, her just paying the 1.5, everything just died down. So the question is, why would I want the rights when I can just give you the money and I'll just go in
Okay,
peace?
now let me ask you this question.
Okay.
Or should I ask her?
Yeah, anyone.
Okay, now,
Anybody.
have you ever found yourself in a situation where you know or you knew you didn't commit any crime?
Mhm.
The officer is asking you to pay 1.5 or fine, and you refuse to pay 1.5 fine, and they took you to court.
Have I been in a situation?
Yes.
No, but I won't because I'll pay the
Do you know why?
Why?
Because you want shortcuts.
And that's
Now,
something we need to stop.
Now, if every Nigerian, if you know that you didn't commit any crime, and you say, let's go to court, nobody will ever ask you to pay 1.5 again. It's because if they mention, let's go to court, you are afraid, then they'll say, give me the 1.5.
Okay, how about in a situation whereby these people actually want to,
So
they're setting you
the
up?
one setting them up to violate your right.
Okay, so let's.
But this
let's
reminds
actually
me.
wrap this
Oh,
up.
sorry.
Yeah,
Can I just?
I know this is interesting, but we need to wrap it up. Let's actually ask the last question. Okay, let's make it practical. If, for instance, you're at a checkpoint and you're being, you feel like your rights are being violated, what are the practical steps to take? At what points do you get your lawyer on the phone? What are the steps we should take? Do I open my boots? What do I need to do?
I keep quiet.
Can you make it brief?
Right, practically. Okay, now you are. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, I didn't commit a crime.
Okay,
And I
okay.
feel like my rights
Okay,
are about
they
to
At the
say-
usual security checkpoint.
They say you ran the,
The
red light
But you did.
and they have stopped you. And they're saying, you see, this is interesting. And they're saying, let's go to court or come to our office and pay the fine. Because they usually tell you,
How much?
all the time they'll tell you you're going to pay fine and the fine
Depends.
is going to be 50,000. Then you get scared.
That's not the actual.
Now,
What do you do?
to your question, you now say, what you do, you say, officer, what crime did I commit? He will say, you ran a red light, fine.
Okay.
I did not run the red light. He will say, you did, let's go to the station. Then you go to the station. Then when you're on your way to your station,
Okay.
you can call your lawyer to meet you at the station. Right? And then when you now get to that station, because most times if you even get to the station, they will see, this person is serious. I think we need to discharge him or her and probably press for more bribe. And then they'll try to bribe him once again, and if it doesn't work, they will say, just get out. Or for some of them they are serious and they believe that you committed a crime, they say, let's go to court. Then you call your lawyer.
But I only say you
Okay.
following them if you're not in a hurry to somewhere. Let's say you have like a meeting to attend and then someone is telling you follow me to the station. With the kind
follow
of
the
traffic
station.
we have in, let's say it happens in Lagos, Nigeria.
Yes.
Their station is probably maybe inside Festac town and then I'm word of you. And I tell them, oh God, before we even get to the station, that's like on that 30 minutes
And
journey.
you're going
Back and forth, back and forth.
That's done.
What is
Excuse.
stress?
Once an officer of law has reasonable grounds to suspect or to believe that you committed a crime, or even in this case,
I'm
you
coming
have-
from an angle where she said they did not do anything.
Okay, thank you so much. I feel like you've got to do this. We need to wrap this up. We need to actually wrap this up. This
Alright.
is State of the Culture. It is brought to you by Izesan. Speak Esan. Go ahead to your Google Play Store or your iOS Play Store and download our app. You can learn various African languages. I can mention them for you, but you can go and see for yourself because that's where you actually get the knowledge. Thank you so much to my co-host Kelechi and Olua Tosin. And of course to our Stanley Esquire. You killed it. You gave us everything
you.
we need to know.
We're giving you, we're giving
Back to back.
Exactly.
Deep there, back
Even
to
this
back to
back
back,
and
back to
forth.
back to back.
Thank you so much. More episodes are coming up. We hope you do watch and hope you enjoyed this episode. So make sure you look out for more, okay? I'm Justina, your host. Thank you for watching.